Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Wednesday. It's February 26th. This will be our chart listen for today. And it looked like we were going to bounce and go higher today. We had traded down lower during the overnight, found some support here just after 8:30 along this support line, and traded higher. And we did close back inside that again today. Now we're trading outside of it now. Maybe tomorrow we'll turn back up and continue to push higher, or maybe we were going to push lower here. I thought for sure we were going to go higher today, and it didn't happen. We ended up selling off. If you look at this bigger picture here, I think there was originally two trends in this one. There was a trend up here with a break and new high, and then we had this two-legged correction, which is often the center of a pattern, and then we started a new spiking channel here, in my opinion. We had a break, and we have not quite got a new high yet. Sometimes you don't always get a new high, but this is a fairly long trend. It's been going on for a couple of years, so this whole contract has been nothing but bullish until lately when we went sideways in this correction here. So, you would expect prices to retest this high. Now, again, sometimes that doesn't happen. Maybe I'm reading the chart wrong. Maybe I've missed something here. I don't think I have. I've gone back over it a few times. Uh, so to me, I still think we should retest this high. And notice that we did get this channel up in a break, and we did make a new high. So maybe we're going to get a correction, find some support, but we still need to make a new high here, which we haven't done. So are we going to do that? I don't know. We're just working sideways right now, as you can see. Buying comes in down at these lowers, and notice we closed much higher today. The buying, we didn't go near as low either, so there's a good chance that we could turn up here and still trade higher before this week is over. No guarantees on that. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but I still think we need to retest to the highs at a minimum. So we'll see what happens. But that's my look at the daily chart. We'll see if we get back in this. We closed back in today, although not by much. So will we close back inside tomorrow and maybe close higher? We'll just have to see. So it's always possible we're going to come down and test these lows down here, somewhere 5,900 or lower, because we've traded all the way down to just above 5,800, like 58.10 or 20, somewhere in that range. So really the lows range from anywhere from about 58.10 to about 5,900. So we'll see what happens. But that's how I saw it today. Just a kind of a mixed trading day. As you can see, we opened, traded lower, um, then turned back up and traded higher, and then turned back down before the day was over. We did close up. The bar itself looks pretty neutral with a small bullish body, but compared to where we closed yesterday, we closed a good bit higher. So let's just look. We closed almost 20, probably 20 points higher. So I mean, it's nothing to blow your socks off or anything, but it's definitely an improvement. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. Let's flip over to the 2000 tick chart, and I'll let you take a look at that, kind of explain what I see on the chart, and we'll go through the trades and wrap the day up. Okay, here it is, and you can see it looked like we were going to start out in this range, and like we had a big spike in channel, like we were going to go higher, and we just suddenly broke out of that, and things went haywire, and before the bottom just fell out again. And then we tried to recover some of that, and you can see right at I'm not sure what happened here around. This is around the 3 o'clock. Usually, if you see anything like this, it's right around 3 o'clock, and this is, I mean, this bar. This is like 3:20 or something. So I don't know. Some kind of news must have come out. I haven't seen anything, but I'm guessing something came out around 3:20 that would have impacted the market. It could just be a nervous market, but most likely something triggered this. But it doesn't matter. That's well after trading hours. Most of it, you shouldn't have been trading at that point anyway. So, but there it is again. Again, it was an up down and then somewhat up day. I don't know how to describe that really. It's just been crazy lately. Not as many trades today. There were some good moves, but you got to be careful in this stuff. You can get chopped to pieces. This is not easy to trade. So um, I believe 7 o'clock came right on this bar, maybe. Yeah, right there. Um, and your second entry had already triggered. So this, you might have looked at this as a high or low, but it's just an inside bar. So I think you're better off just to sit tight. And then you get a big move down off the highs, and you try to go higher twice. So you get a failure there, which is kind of a reversal. And if we were still above this, hadn't to push through this midline, I'd say sit tight because you see how many times we bounced, but we'd already pushed through twice, each time going further. So I think you're okay on this one. I still marked it green. This is an advanced trade. Most of you new people always email and ask me, this isn't in the manual. Can you tell me about it? If you're new, don't try to trade these reversals. They're very advanced, very complicated, and they just slow your learning curve and mess you up. So leave them alone. They're more advanced, and only experienced traders that are trading live and profitable right now should be trading these. Let them come to you organically over time, which is going to be a while. So just pay attention when I show them to you in the video. And this is a reversal. In other words, you only trade these in two places: on a reversal, which would be off the highs, and in a continuation pattern, which would be off a trend line in a trend. And here you're reversing off a high, going back to the lows, so it's a reversal pattern failure. And I like that one. Again, it's advanced. It's not for everybody, but there it is. So then we bounce down here. We do get a triple test here, but this one pushed lower, so I think you needed to wait on another test, and it's a little sideways, and then all you get is just congestion here. Now you finally get an outside bar. Maybe when this one closes, you trade it, but it still looks congested, but it does close higher. I just think you're better off to sit tight because you can see right in here, if you'd have entered on this one, you'd have got burned. And of course, the congestion and the fact that you're not getting rejection here, that should keep you out of this trade. Now, this looks more like rejection, but you need some follow through to know, and so you're taking a chance going long there. So just skip that trade. It runs up, you get a close outside a new high, and you don't really get a chance. There is a lower high here, but there's a lot of stem there. Does that close in this lower half? I'm not sure. It doesn't break below it anyway because you get an inside bar, so it doesn't really matter. And then you come down here and you get a close outside and a new low all in one bar, and a break above that's a second entry, and you're way away from the EMA. You're also making a little higher low, so I like going long on that one. You end up just kind of chopping sideways from there. So this might have been difficult to get in because it gaps over and keeps going, but I would drop a limit order and see, and it's possible you could get in. It depends on how you played it. And this thing just takes off. And then we do break out up here. It fails pretty, almost instantly, and then gives another entry, but that's just a first entry. Then you make another new high, and this time you get a triple test with that big bearish bar. I like going short there because most breakouts fail. With a triple test, with that bearish of a bar, I say take it. It's an easy scalp, but you don't get anything more out of it. It just kind of chops around until it goes higher again and fails once again. This one was tempting to take as well, but I just sit tight and see what happens because it's hard to know what's happening here because we're kind of stuck between the support and resistance and a new resistance level here that now has a failed breakout. So just sit tight and see what happens. And you really don't get a chance to join it, but all of a sudden it takes off and it does go higher. There is a second entry long here. Technically it's not because this makes a higher high, but it's still 2 legs back to the trend line, but it's an inside bar, so just skip that one too. That's just a first entry. Then you get a close outside new high. You might say, well, I could go short below this one on the break and new high, but I'd wait on the lower high, and there's not much room to the EMA on this one. You want to at least see some penetration there or have some room back to it just in case it bounces off of it, and you don't have that. So just sit tight, and then it tries to go higher once, twice, and fails. It gives you this big bearish bar. So once again, you got a failure there. I like going short. Again, that's very advanced. And then it just drops down here and bounces it. Now this does confirm the trend line here. There is a hidden second entry there, but it's not a true second entry by the counts. Maybe you take that, but most of you probably better off just to wait and see what happens. And then you just get a first entry and another first entry, and there is a second entry here, but it's another inside bar, so just skip that. Then we're just chopping around, and finally you come back, and notice you got two legs back to the key entry point here in a nice bullish bar. If it breaks above that, go with it. Then you got a higher low. I wouldn't enter this on the engulfing bar. I'd wait for it to close. And then it's a little close to the highs, but I do believe there's enough room to get out. So maybe you take that higher low. Again, it gaps over there, so you may not be able to get in it. There's another second entry here, but again, it's an inside bar with a very weak signal bar. Finally, you push up to the top. You get a first entry, pull back, and you get a second entry there. I like entering on that one. We did just come off the highs, so there's a good chance that we could be going lower here, but it's still a second entry, and we're in an uptrend here, making higher highs and higher lows. So maybe you take that, and then this just gets too sideways and congested. You might argue there's a reversal here, but I wouldn't go short at that huge bar at the very end of a move right into that trend line, because you don't know if that trend line is going to hold or not. So just sit tight. And of course, you do get the break and it turns and goes back, but there's no setup to get long or anything there. And it quickly turns down, just makes one leg down and then makes another move up. But you got a new high there, so there's a first entry and then a second entry. But again, you've got this inside bar. It looks a little congested. I'd sit tight. And it does push up, makes a double top and a lower high, and gives you a second entry short right there. You can clearly see the two legs up. Technically, by the count, it's not a second entry because your new low's here and you get a first entry, second entry, so it's like a third. But you can clearly see the two legs up that makes a double top. I like that entry. I'm going to take that. If it looks like two legs, it's probably going to act like two legs, especially when it gives you two fairly equal size legs there, and you can see that. And this turns out to be a really nice move down. And you get a close outside the new low. Maybe you go long there. Again, you're better off to wait on a higher low, which never comes till way up here, and that's too late. Notice this does break lower and fail and turn up. You could, so far away from the EMA, you could, and that's mostly bearish. And you do have a close outside the new low, so you could go long on the engulfing bar here, one tick above this red bar if you wanted, or you could still wait for that to close and see what happens, and you still have plenty of room. I like entering it either way. Again, it's a little early and a little aggressive, but it's one of those trades that, if you understand what's going on, you probably want to take it. You move on up, get a close outside, and you get a first entry higher, and you actually get two legs up, and now you got a triple test up there, and two legs up to a new high. Good signal bar. I like going short there, and that's a good move down. That was a good entry. Here you just have a first entry, and then you're just chopping around. You do get a triple test across there, but that signal bar is not good enough, and this looks too bearish. Moves up, turns down, and then the bottom just kind of falls out of it when we get this trend. So this is a spike and channel down, so you got a channel working down here. There's a second entry short here, but the signal bar is no good. You can clearly see two legs up, but that signal bar is not good enough. You could take the lower high, like that one. Low risk, 8-tick bar, and this turns out to be a pretty good move. You get another first entry, and you do get a break of that khaki channel within that, a new low, and then you get another first entry, another one, and there is a second entry short right there, but that looks too sideways and congested, and look how you're getting some support off of that. That's the close from yesterday. Don't go short there. It would have worked, But you end up actually getting an inside bar, and it doesn't break. It doesn't break below this bar, so you just have congestion there. It does bounce down here and comes back and turns down right there, and you get two legs down. I didn't mark this trade. Actually, this is a triple test, but I'm not crazy about it because we're in a downtrend. And we did get a break, but we don't have a new low yet. So there's a good chance we're most likely going to retest that low on a move that strong. And you can see we did retest it. And there's a second entry here. This one closes outside. You might take that trade. I'm not crazy about it. Does it even? I'm pretty sure it works. And it is a triple test. Yeah, you get more than enough room to get out there, but it's just dangerous because this is the first break and you don't have a new low. Same thing here. Maybe you take it. I don't know. Did I measure the right one? That's the one I meant to measure. Yeah, you still get plenty of room there. You're better off to wait on the higher low, and you get one here, but it's an inside bar. Then you bounce off the back inside the range. Now, you could enter this one because you're still in this green range working up here too. So I didn't mark that one, but you could definitely enter right there. And that one's even close to being blue. But you could take that trade. And it runs up to the top, and now you get another test up there. I've marked this as the second entry short. You're still in this channel. And the other thing is, these are not equal tests, but you're making a lower high each time. So if you recognize that, I think you could treat that as a triple test and take that trade. I left it green as well, but you can see it's a really nice move down. And then you get two legs back, and so a break below that bar is a second entry, but the signal bar is no good. You might argue there's a lower high here, but there's some support across there, and you're going short right into it. So again, and you already have your break and new low, so it's dangerous. But when this thing just keeps going, you got to realize that there's probably another trend because you did have this two-legged correction after a new low. So I would look for a new trend, and there's another spike and channel down here. You can see this channel is running down, and we get an overshoot, which leads to a break, runs to a new low, and then it reverses. Now there is a second entry short here. Notice first entry, second entry. And we'd kind of been holding down along that line right there, so I think you're okay to take that one. Now, if somebody asked me there's a second entry here, and you could say first entry, second entry. But this overshoot, you want to at least be back to the trend line, and you're not even back. If I zoom in here, you can see there's still some room there. And because of the overshoot, you're probably going to get a break. And a good way to know if you've got your trend line in the right place is when they gap over the line like that, and you see it gaps right over it. So I'm pretty sure that I've got that trend line correct. And so why was this a bad entry? Why should you sit tight? Because of the overshoot, because we aren't back to the trend line, and because we're likely to get a break here. So you need, and in my opinion, this looks like a two-legged move and then a correction. So that you could treat this like a whole new trend. I'd draw my trend line, and that would keep you out of that trade alone right there. But the fact that you had this overshoot and you're not even back to the trend line, this overshoot often leads to a reversal, and at the very least you'll probably get a break and a new low. And that's what happens. We get the close outside, couple legs to a new low, and then we reverse. Now this thing's been way too strong with two trends down to try to pick a bottom down here. So you definitely don't want to pick that. You need a higher low. And you don't get one of those till here, and that bar is just, it's an engulfing bar, and it's 26 ticks, and it's got a big stem on it. Does it close in the upper 1/3? Probably. But I'd want something better than that to go long there. And it does take off. Doesn't go very far. You get a close outside, move to a new high, and then it turns down. And it just barely, I'm pretty sure it just barely makes a new high there. 66 1/4. Well, it actually makes a double top there. I thought it actually went a tick higher, but it doesn't. And you get your two legs back, and it takes off again. So with that, you probably get another uh, trend line here with a I'd look for similar to something close to a measured move. You may not get the measured move, but at least look for one. And you see you didn't quite get it here, but you get this next one up, close outside, a couple of moves to a new high, and you get a lower high here. Maybe you take the new high after the breaking two legs up. You're always better off to wait on that lower high. And you might even say there's a reversal, but we're not. This is not really a reversal. This is just a continuation of the trend, and you don't really trade this pattern in this position, in this type of situation. So, but you get a break, move to a new low, and then you make a higher low here, a double bottom. I mark that green. Maybe you can try to go long there. And it comes back here. You actually get a move back, and it confirms that trend line. And then you get a second entry long here as well. Notice the new high. First entry tries to go lower. You get a second entry. And then it comes back again and gives you a triple test right off that key entry point. If it breaks higher there, go with it. And that one takes off, runs up to the highs, and then that takes us into 230. And it just went crazy up here about 320. And again, I don't know what happened there, but something obviously happened. Maybe there was just that much volume that needed to close out today. But the fact that it makes these, it's not all in one direction. It's all down, then it's all up, then it's something happening right around that time. Let me zoom in here and see what the actual time. Somewhere around, well, this bar closed at 1517 and this one closed at 1520. So somewhere within about a 3-minute period there, something crazy happened and this thing went nuts. I've seen it do that just for closing hours, but it's usually not that crazy. Okay, if we come over here, let's go look at yesterday. You can see we didn't see that yesterday at 320. Where's just we didn't see much of anything after 3 o'clock yesterday. So you don't see that yet, hardly any volume at all. Same thing here, not much happened at all. Same thing here, not after 3 o'clock, nothing much is happening at all. So I don't know what happened. Again, it could have just been a crazy day and a lot of people exiting and whatever, but it looks like some kind of news item came out. Because that's pretty wild right there. I mean, that's how big of a swing is that? From top to bottom, that's a 50-point swing. So yeah, something happened there. I can't tell you what it was, but something happened there. I saw a couple of headlines today about the bonds rallying, and I can't remember what time that was. I don't remember if it was around 3 or not, but maybe the bonds, maybe there's something came out with the bonds or something. I'm not sure, but something happened there to I'm pretty sure to make that crazy swing. And again, it doesn't matter. They'll write the news to fit the price action actually in most cases, but we shouldn't be trading then anyway and should have already been out and been flat. I mean, you might carry a trade into that and you would have got stopped out wherever you were moving if you were carrying a runner and or trade and letting it run, you should be locking in your profits and hopefully you would have got stopped out without losing all your profit. People think just because this happens, you take a loser. Well, that's not necessarily the case. You probably would have been long here if you were still in, I'm guessing. And if you're long and you're putting your stop below each new swing high or whatever and locking in, protecting your profits, the worst that would have happened was you probably should have been right here. And so and you probably should have had it below that low right there. So you shouldn't take a big hit on something like that. I mean, you don't just not have your stop and try to exit and come out way down here. Now, you might get some slippage, but you shouldn't get more than a tick or two in most cases. It has to be really, really moving wild and fast to get a bunch of big slippage in regular trading hours. So, but that's why I don't trade after 2:30, honestly. Now, every once in a while I'll carry a runner into some later hours, but you shouldn't get hurt on a runner. You should be locking in your profit as you go, just in case something like that does happen. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. Believe it or not, I think today's Wednesday. Yeah, tomorrow will be Thursday, and we'll have another week behind. It's been just a crazy. I've been so busy since I've been back that the days just go by. There's just not enough time in the day for me to do everything I need to do, and uh, I do my own trading, and then I have to take care of the website, answer emails, do the chart lesson, put the mid-morning chart up, trying to do my taxes. And if anybody, does your own taxes, even though I have a CPA that really does it, it takes me 3 or 4 days to put it all together and get it to him. And then of course I got my businesses on my rental businesses, and then so I got to put those businesses together too. And so tax time is about 2 or 3 weeks for me, and I hate it. I literally hate it. I hope Trump fixes it where he gets rid of the IRS and we go to some kind of flat tax or national sales tax or something. It just would be so much easier, in my opinion. It's just so stressful. And anyway, not to get off on that tangent, but that's just part of my stuff I'm trying to get done right now after being gone for 3 weeks on top of that. So it's been a tough couple of weeks for me. So anyway, I'm starting to get caught up. I get my income tax stuff settled down, taken care of, and out of the way. Then hopefully things will settle down for me, and I can kind of get back to more normal days. But it's been hectic for me here for the last couple of weeks since coming back from that long vacation. So just bear with me. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow and wrap up our week. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.